All right, as promised, part 2, we have my clean and jerk EMOM session. So this is about 6 or 7 minutes post the squat snatch EMOM that you guys just saw. And the only thing that was different here is the rest interval and the increments of pounds that were going up each time. So on this EMOM, we are starting out there with 185 pounds, which is, for context, what is that? That is 57% of my 1RM. For the squat snatch, we started at 52%. And the reason being, with the clean and jerk, I know that I need more time in between reps. I think with the actual movement itself taking longer than a snatch to perform, and the amount of weight that will be changed, 15 pounds is a lot harder to change. There's more plates to move than just a simple 10-pound change on a snatch. So that was one factor. So we have 90 seconds in between reps. One thing that I would do, just so the math is easier, I have written, I don't know if you can see it on the whiteboard behind me, but I have written out the weights and the time intervals. With the snatch EMOM, it was easy. Every minute on the minute. With the clean and jerk, it's going to be 90 seconds or a minute 30, 3 minutes, 4:30, 6 minutes, and so on. So having that written out on the board is just one less thing to think about. And making sure that you can focus more on actually counting the weights and making sure the right plates are on and off as you go. So here we go. This is now 200 pounds. I want to get the bar centered. I don't want my back foot kicking the rig. This is one of the flatter parts of the gym where it's not like a crater. So this is why I'm lifting here, and it was right where I was for back squatting. I didn't feel like moving the weights, so they're all set out and planted here. So here is 200 pounds. Every lift did have to be a squat clean and a split jerk. So there's no powering anything. We were practicing technique and moving through. I guarantee you, after looking back at this, because I did look a little slow, one, I probably should have rested more, but I was short on time, so we kind of had to get into it pretty quickly. Two, should have eaten more. And three, probably should have hydrated just a little bit more to make sure everything was fueled up, ready to go for the clean and jerk. So like in the last video too, I would recommend having your plates all laid out prior. You should not be traveling and making your trip across the gym to grab the amount of weight that you need for this EMOM. And it goes pretty quick, right? 90 seconds sounded like a lot. And I was like, that might be too much time. But after going through, changing the plates, thinking about the math in my head, the actual movement itself taking, twice as long, we had about the same rest period once the changed plates were on. I probably had an extra 10 seconds with the clean and jerk, maybe 15 seconds, depending if it was a quick change or not. So I believe that 90-second window was right on the money. And two, because you are lifting a heavier load and the movement is just requiring more energy overall, that extra 30 seconds rest, I think, is ideal if you want to have a successful lift here. So on the bar, we have, 215? And for context, that is 66% of my 1RM. And here we go. Let's see. I think this clean, caught, and the turnover was a lot prettier. And the jerk is starting to kind of feel warmed up. I should have also, another thing, I probably should have warmed up my clean and jerk a little bit more. But again, time constraints compressed on that. We kind of just had to get into it because I think I had to leave around 12:30, 1 o'clock. Well, 1 o'clock because I had a Metcon after this. So I knew, the pace had to be picked up. And again, just like in the snatch video, I recommend you change your own plates. We're getting ready for the open here, and in some instances, yes, people may be able to change the plates for you, but in other competition settings, you're going to have to change your own plates. So getting some work and getting some practice on that, and understanding how fluid of a movement, how minor of a skill it may seem, but how important of a skill it can be in a competition setting where, you're gaining valuable seconds. You're more upright to breathe how you should. You don't have to think and worry and, fidget around with things, especially when you get tired and your body isn't firing at 100%. Having this small little skill could be advantageous to you in any of your competitions. So here we go. We are in this lift. We have about, I believe, 10 seconds. I think I'm going at the 4:30 mark. So trying to get to the barbell, about 10 seconds to do my routine, get set up, so I know when I'm lifting, I have maximal time to rest, change plates, and so on. So here we go. We have 220 on the bar, or is that 225? No, I think that's 230. Yeah, it's 230 on the bar. So that moved pretty well. In the next lift, we're going to be hitting 245. And that is now up to 75%. So every 15-pound jump is about 4.6% increase each time. And the reason, again, that I went higher and heavier is I didn't want to do as many reps as the snatch. My goal target was to end around that 90% again, which would be somewhere in the 292. So I believe I made the 290-pound clean and jerk. I did miss the 305, but at that point I was like, I'm just going to go for it, see what the body's at, use this as a good benchmark. So again, the whole reason for this EMOM is to transition from a pure weightlifter into more of that CrossFit setting where you're prescribed to do a certain intensity, a certain loading, probably with less rest than you would experience as a weightlifter, where you're resting 2, 3, 5, maybe even 6 minutes between attempts. In this case, you have, for the snatch, less than a minute, and this around a minute, less than a minute and a half to rest between attempts. And the work load that you're getting done is done in a much smaller time frame, which is very typical of CrossFit, especially with what will probably be given in the Open, the quarterfinals, and hopefully the semifinals. So here we go, 245. The body's starting to wake up, really having used the legs to stand out of the hole. Again, a little shaky on the arms, but overall, not bad. Pretty satisfied with that. We're starting to belt up. It was providing a lot of good stability. I wasn't too fried, but we did do about 80 deadlifts at 265 yesterday. Well, the day before in this workout. So overall, strength felt good. Consistency was there. No issues with the lockout. Didn't feel like I was overtraining or doing too much. Again, just hitting reps and feeling good, learning how to change plates and really get a feel for where I'm at physically. So overall, pretty happy with how everything's going so far. Starting to sit down, I think this is where my legs are starting to feel it, and I realized I needed to rest as, we're moving up to 260. 260 is exactly 80% of my 1RM, and this is where it kind of starts to get real. I know, maybe a year, 2 years ago, 260 was like, I don't know if I'm going to hit this today rep, but now that I know that I can hit it pretty consistently, pretty confidently, is a good gauge for where I'm at. So we are approaching, the 7.5 minute mark. Making sure the belt is strapped tight, ready to go. Going through my normal routine. Probably going to take a little bit longer here just to make sure everything's set, making sure the body's come down. Again, trying to be very technical here within these given time frames that are very, very... I was very happy with that turnover. That was probably my best jerk so far. No bobble in the arms. Legs received it really, really well. Very happy with that 260. So now we move on to the 275. I can't remember how this rep exactly went, but I believe I felt pretty good throughout it. I know that 260 I was very happy with, very smooth. Again, the bar wasn't crashing on me super crazy, which I was very happy with. But again, I wish I would have eaten a little bit more, so I had a little more juice in the 290 and the 305 clean and jerk. Yeah, and I know I've already stated this, but having the chalk near you, having the whiteboard for reference, having the plates next to you, and having everything set, ready to go, really does accumulate the time and focus and energy to actually rest before each rep. Because again, that 90-second window is longer than the EMOM of the snatch, but again, not enough time to really screw around. You really have to be very diligent and move very efficiently and be very hyper aware. This isn't something you can just like mess around and talk to somebody in between, especially as you're approaching what is now an 85% lift or 84.6% lift. So here we go, 275 on the barbell. Same approach. We are in the next 90-second cycle, so taking a little bit more time here to get prepared and set. Let's see. Good turnover, feeling good. Set well in the chest. Little bobble, but overall pretty solid. Very happy with that. Felt pretty clean. And now we move on to the 290 barbell, which is 89.2%. So this is the goal target weight that we're feeling here. Excuse me. And I didn't really check on the clock while I was changing weights. I was just trying to move as efficiently, making sure I'm not rushing around, making sure I'm loading the correct plates as needed for this final barbell that I do successfully lift. But overall, wrists were feeling good, legs were feeling good. Again, the back was fine. The Element 26 belt was keeping me locked down. Body did not feel super fatigued. It really wasn't until that final barbell at 305 where I was like, this is not going to be stood up overhead at least. But yeah, legs responded real well. Couldn't be happier with this. Well, couldn't be any happier. I do wish I would have hit the 305, but crushing 290, close to 300 pounds, feeling good. Post back squat, leg drive was good. Centering the barbell here, making sure everything's set. Keeping pretty close tabs on that clock. Wasn't trying to rush through the reps, really making sure I was set. Again, on such a short rest period, I'm very happy with how my body responded to minimal rest and high output, high intensity, high loading. So here we go. Here's the 290. Little struggle in the hole. Kind of got pinched a little bit, little mashed potatoes. But again, not the worst. Jerk overhead, but not the best. Decently, I knew that 305 is going to be quite the challenge. I knew that the legs there took a little bit of a taxing. I knew my hip hinge when I'm standing up in that first pull isn't exactly where it needs to be after watching this. It didn't feel terrible, but I knew the 305 was definitely going to be a struggle as we were changing these plates. And just thinking through, I'm like, all right, belt's going to need to be tightened down a little bit, and a whole lot of focus is going to need to happen. As in this case, 305 is 93.8%, round that up, 94% of my 1RM lift. So pretty heavy percentage here. Coming off of a deload week, this is my first heavy session back. I'm very happy with how the body responded. I'm excited to see how mixing in a nice amount of cardio CrossFit will change and transform my style of lifting, how I'm able to take on certain percentages. I think this transition and change of programming is going to help with growth, as in strength and overall endurance, and just building me a better athlete overall. So here we go. This is the 305 barbell. I believe the clock is at 12:20. My last lift is at 12:30, so then I have that. I'm going to utilize that whole window into minute, what would be, 14 flat. So here we are, we're chalked up, going through my routine, getting set, not rushing anything. Really take as much time as I need, not even worried about the clock. Just focusing on the lift. Here we go, 305. So a little crunch there. Again, not as speedy as I would like. And then on the jerk, little forward. So that is going to be one of the main things I want to focus on. But, hitting almost 90% on an EMOM, pretty happy with that. If you enjoyed this video, please go watch my squat snatch one as well. And as always, thank you for watching this video. Peace and much love.